Hello, my beautiful friends. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. So the other day I posted part 1 of my winter 2021 houseplant tour, and that consisted of the plants that I have in my living room and in my bedroom. Today we are going to be moving forward with part 2, and this houseplant tour is going to consist of what I have in my kitchen and in my sunroom. I do have quite a few houseplants. The majority of my collection is in my sunroom, so I am going to try to move along fairly quickly just so that this video doesn't end up being too long. So anyway, with that being said, let's jump on into it. Okay, so as we walk into my kitchen from my living room, this is what we see. On the back side of my sink, I do have a few propagations. Not a whole lot. I recently potted a few of those up. But I do have some Philodendron micans, I have some Hoyas in some water that did not root while I had them in my spag prop box, so I placed them in water. And it looks like I have a little bit of Peperomia scandens variegata back there. Right here I have some strawberry begonia, just a little cutting. Next to that I have some more Hoya carnosa crimson princess. Here I have some Philodendron Brazil, along with some heartleaf it looks like, and some others in there. And then over here to the left I have some Begonia maculata, whitey eye, along with some Syndaxis argyrius. Here is my Philodendron Heterasium, my heartleaf philodendron. Love this guy. Always taking cuttings from this plant. It grows so fast. Hiding back here is a true Christmas cactus. This one I have had for about a year now. I started this one from just cuttings and now it's a small plant. And that is one of the true Christmas cactuses. Over here, I have my jewel orchid. This one is a Mccoy's Patola jewel orchid. And this one I have just in sphagmos, which I think is kind of hindering the growth a little bit. I do want to take this one out of here and try something different. I have seen some YouTubers, planty YouTubers, that have this plant growing in just a soil medium. So I don't know. I kind of feel like this one is growing a little bit leggy, which I don't care for. So I may do something different in the near future with this guy. As we turn to the right, this leads to my sunroom. And the first plant that you'll see is this Senecio. This is a string of bananas. This guy, ever since I've had it, really hasn't done the greatest for me. It's kind of just holding its own. It doesn't look great, but it doesn't look terrible. I may do something different with this in the spring, summer, just not quite sure yet what I might do. I may trim all of these little vines back and start the plant over. I don't know. But that's what this guy is looking like. Okay, and as we step down into my sunroom, this is my first rack. Give you a little overview. It's an organized mess, guys. Okay, so top plant here is my Hoya Macrophylla variegata. I've had this one, I'd say, for almost a year now. Love it. Back there to the left, I have a little jade. And to the right of that, if you can see it, I have just a regular green Hoya carnosa. Here is an arrowhead. This is a Syngonium. I want to say this one is a berry illusion, but don't quote me on that. I'm not super knowledgeable when it comes to all of the names of the Syngoniums, but this one is an arrowhead, and I believe it is the berry illusion. To the right of that is another jade, a different type. If you can see that. There we go, maybe a little bit better, a little bit better. And up here in the front is a Hoya Obavada. This one I've also had for, I want to say I've had this one for close to a year. It has thrown off a new vine. This leaf here is a little deformed. Hopefully the next one comes in a little bit better. Well, actually we do have a new one that did come in. So that one looks pretty good, I think. Actually, that does look pretty good. Let me see here. Okay, there's the new leaf on this guy. A little bit shaky. But that's the new leaf. So that one is looking pretty good. Back towards the window is a silver squill. I really love this guy. It's kind of a crazy grower, and I think that's what I like about it. Very cute. In the front here is my Rickrack Cactus. This one, geez, how long have I had this one? I think I've had this one for maybe a half a year, 8 months or so. Just starting to put on some new growth. Over here to the right is a Hoya Obavada. Hopefully this guy will start to grow for me this year. It's full in through the top, but not many vines in through the sides, so maybe this one will pick up this year. I've had this guy for about 2 years or so. So that's the Hoya Obavada. Down here is just a little bromeliad. This one I believe is in the bromeliad air plant family. I can't remember the exact name, but it's super pretty. It gets purple flowers in the spring, summertime. And to the right there, I have a little zebra Horathea. This one has gotten quite a bit bigger since I've had it, and I want to say I've had this one for about maybe 3 years or so. Okay, and let's see here. As we come down to the second shelf, in the front here is just a regular curly ivy. In the back here is a variegated jade. This one, over the summertime last year, I dropped it and I broke several of the stems off, which is kind of a bummer because it was really growing very well for me. I love this one, very pretty. And to the right of that jade is just a little succulent dish that I have going on. I don't know whether these are sedums. Not very knowledgeable when it comes to succulents either. In the front here is a Peperomia Pixie or a Peperomia Orba. Very cute. Back there is my little Gasteria. This one I've had for quite a while too. It's gotten quite a bit bigger. Love it. In the front here, I have a Tradiscantia. This one is just the variegated. I'm thinking this one might need water. Let's see. Nope, not yet. So that one is the variegated Tradiscantia. In front here, this is a Confetti Syngonium that really doesn't have too much confetti to it. I guess you can see a little bit right there. It had a lot more when I first purchased it, and that was probably, geez, I want to say like a year and a half ago. Back there is another succulent dish. Here is another Tradiscantia. This one is the white velvet, I believe. This one I found on Facebook Marketplace last summer. Very pretty, love it. Over to the right is my String of Tears, String of Raindrops. This one, when I first purchased it a couple of years ago, I almost lost it due to overwatering, I believe. But now, it's doing much better. This one is so much easier going than the String of Bananas for some reason. Don't know why, but this one grows much better for me. If we come down to my third shelf, right-hand side, back here, I have a Hoya Carnosa Hindu rope, Hoya Carnosa compacta. Yeah, and that one's getting quite long. Doing well. In the front, I have a Peperomia Clusifolia. This is the jelly or the ginny plant. Underrated plants, I think. These guys are very pretty, in my opinion. And they do grow quite large, actually. Okay, back there, I have a flapjack. To the left of that, another little succulent dish that's got some Kalanchoe in it, along with some other succulents as well. A couple of Kalanchoes. And I always forget what this one is called, but I like it. To the front of that, I have a Hoya lacunosa. Starting to put on some new growth. It's looking pretty good. In the front here is a Hoya Chelsea. This one came from my friend Leona over at Lioness Tropicals. Thank you so much, Leona. She's doing very well. Love it. Over here is my Hoya Rebecca. This one I want to say I've had for a little over a year now. No. It will be a year. It'll be a year in April or May that I've had this one. Had to get it because it's my namesake plant, Hoya Rebecca. So happy I have this one in my collection. Back here is my Tradiscantia. This one is the tricolor. The, I think it goes by a couple of different names. The Roeo or the oyster plant. This one I have cut back several times. This one grows very well for me as well. Love this one so much. Beautiful colors. In front here, I have my Hoya australis Lisa. So beautiful. So that's the Hoya australis Lisa. To the left of that, I have just a Rex Begonia that really pretty much just stays this size. It never really puts on a ton of growth for me, and it's just kind of meh. It's okay. The Rexes are not my favorite plants, guys. Back here is my Purple Heart or Purple Queen Tradiscantia. Pretty one as well. When this one is kept in bright light, it maintains those dark purple leaves. Very pretty one. And if we come down to the bottom shelf, first one here is my Hoya pubicalyx. And I'm not sure if this is the pink splash. I was told that it may be a combination of a couple of different pubicalyx, the pink splash and maybe the royal purple Hawaiian, maybe. Not quite sure. Back there is my Hoya Crinkle 8. To the right of that is a little Stapelia. In front of that is my whale fin. This one also came from Leona. over at Lioness Tropicals. Love that one. This one here is a Philodendron Moonlight, and this one came from my friend Adele over at Lifeaholic. She sent this one for my birthday last year. It's doing super well. It got kind of snagged by my dog's tail right there. But otherwise, it's looking fantastic. I love this one so much. Over to the right is my Philodendron Birkin. Love the variegation on this one, so pretty. Very cute in the pink pot. And if we move over to the right, this is my Hawaiian spider plant. I don't know about you guys if you have spider plants, but boy, these guys grow super fast. And I find that I'm having to repot my spider plants about once every 6 months, which is really a lot. This one I just repotted over the summer last year, the summer or fall, and it's gonna need it again. I wanna say it's probably root bound. The reason why I can tell is it starts getting these yellowing leaves around the edges, and it's not really retaining the moisture like it was. If we move to the right, this is another one of my racks. Top left is an Aglanima. Not really sure of the name of this particular plant. Beautiful nonetheless. In the front here, I have another Haworthia. In the front here, middle, is my Jade Pothos. And to the back right, I have another Aglanima. I want to say this one is the, oh, someone said the Pink Dalmatian maybe, or something Valentine. I don't really remember. Right here is my string of hearts. This is just my regular string of hearts. I trimmed this one back not too long ago because it was tangled and my OCD just could not tolerate that any longer, so I cut it back. And as you will see, once we move along, I propagated all of those cuttings and they're doing well. Back here is a euphorbia of some sort. This one I also received from Leona, and it's doing well. In the front here is a Syndaxis Trubia Moonlight. I took the cuttings that I had in my living room and I potted them up with a plant that I recently purchased from Wegmans. The plant that I purchased from Wegmans is the longer stemmed one. It was the only plant that was there at Wegmans, so I just kind of snagged it up. And then I took the couple of cuttings that I had in my living room and potted it up into the same pot. And this cute little planter, my son gave me as a gift for Christmas. And it came along with this matching little cash tray, saucer tray. Love it so much. This one is still not really out of the woods yet. I did see a crispy leaf this morning. Like I said, I did repot it into some better soil. The soil that it originally came in was really heavy with hardly any perlite. So hopefully it starts to do better for me. Back here is another Syngonium. This one also came from Leona. And in here is the Holly, I think it's the Holly M and the Great White, I think she said. Very cute. Here is my night blooming orchid cactus. It's gotten bigger. Love this one as well. Cat hair. Very pretty. Over here, I left this plant in my sunroom. I am going to move it into my living room just so that I can enjoy it a little bit more. So this one is my Philodendron Micans. And after this video, I'm going to move it into my living room. Love this plant so much. So pretty. One of my favorites for sure. If we move down to the third shelf, I have a Bonnie spider plant. It's a curly spider plant. It's got some babies going on there. Cute. Back there is a Mccoy Blosfeldiana, which I am going to be trimming back here soon and propagating the cuttings. This one definitely needs a little trim. In the front here is my Syndaxis Exotica, and this one has been growing very well for me. These top leaves here are brand new. This one is so much easier than the Argyrius. This one, since I've had it, I want to say about 8 months, I haven't gotten any browning tips. It's just an easy grower. And the leaves are much bigger than the Argyrius. And I love the variegation on these leaves. Beautiful. To the right of that is just a Ripsalis. This one is, I think it's called the Dancing Bones or the Coke Bottles, something like that. Very cute. This one has actually put on quite a bit of growth for me as well, just within the last year. Okay, if we move on over to this area, this is my curly lipstick plant. And if we move down here, this is a Peperomia Optusofolia Variegata. If we move up here, this is a Dischidia or a Dischidia oantha. It's kind of backlit there. This one I purchased last year. It's put on so much growth for me. Love this one so much. Similar to the Hoya. Very pretty. Over here is another lipstick plant. This one is just the regular variety. It does have some blooms on it. The other one, which I didn't show you, we'll come back to that. This one has some blooms as well. A little bit lighter pink. Mauve, so pretty. It has a couple of different blooms. There are a couple more. Yeah, very pretty. I love the lipstick plants. Okay, let's move on with what I have on this table. Here are some string of hearts, regular string of hearts propagations. These ones I did have in my prop box and they've rooted in very well. So I've moved them to their own little pots. Here's the other one. And then I have one that I still have in my prop box. I'm just kind of letting that one chill, and it looks like it's got a new one coming in, a new little heart there. They've been rooted in for a while, but that is the first sign of new growth that I'm seeing, so that's exciting. Okay, back here is a chocolate soldier, I think it is. Succulent, super cute. Here is a propagation of mine that I've had for a couple of weeks. This one I'm going to be placing on Facebook Marketplace. A couple of these are going to go on Facebook Marketplace. So this one is the Purple Heart, Purple Queen. Here I have my variegated string of hearts. This one is just starting to trail over, which I am so excited about. Can't wait to see what this one does this spring and summer. Love, love, love this one. This one is a new plant for me. This one is a Philodendron Brantianum. And this one I purchased from the same Facebook Marketplace seller that I received a couple of the Moonlight Trubia cuttings from. I purchased this plant from her as well. Had it for a couple of weeks, very cute. This one here is a Hawaiian spider plant, Propagation. This one's gonna go on Marketplace. Like I said, a couple of these guys are gonna go on Facebook Marketplace. This one is just a golden pothos. Here I have another variegated spider plant. This one here is a propagation of my Monstera adansonii. And my bear paw succulent. I just recently repotted this guy. Getting some yellowing leaves around the bottom. And I'm thinking because it's just probably not getting enough sunshine. I haven't watered it since I repotted it. I'll have to check that again here soon. Over to the right is my watermelon peperomia. Love this guy as well. When I first purchased this one, it wasn't doing the greatest. I've had this one, I'd say, for a little over a year now. And it's doing much better. Back there is my desert rose. Hopefully this one will do something for me this summer. I recently trimmed the little the little branches off just so that it wasn't so leggy. So when it gets in new growth, it will shoot off of those little top areas. Back here is a Haworthia. This one I've had for about 8 years. Big guy. Back there is my Pachira aquatica, my money tree. Up here is my Staghorn Fern. It's starting to get several of the little shields in there. Cute. Here is my Calathea Lancifolia. If you want a Calathea, my friends, this is the one to get because this one is such a great grower. It's easy to care for. I give it distilled water. It doesn't get any of the browning tips, and it is beautiful. I love it. I don't do well with prayer plants and Calatheas, most anyway. A couple of the Calatheas do well for me. This one here, my Calathea Mccoy, does well for me as well. Never any issues. So if we come back here, this is my Ponytail Palm. Not super impressed with this guy. It really hasn't done too much in the 2 years that I've had it. If we move over to the right, this is my Begonia Maculata Whitey. When I first purchased this one a little over a year ago, it wasn't doing the greatest for me. It's doing better now. You know, still room for improvement, but it's doing okay. And again, here is my Calathea Mccoy. So gorgeous. I mean, look at that. Doesn't get much better, right? And I have not had any problems with this in the couple of years, 2 years I think that I've had it. Very pretty. In the front here I have a Colocasia. This one is just your typical elephant ear. Trying to maintain through this winter. It's got a new leaf coming out. Back here is my goldfish plant. Gets beautiful little goldfish looking blooms in the summertime. Back there is my green prayer plant. This one is the Maranta Leucanora, just your regular green. This one seems to do okay for me. Now the Maranta, the lemon lime, and the red veined, I lost both of those too. Look at those leaves, very striking. Up here is my Peperomia scandens variegata. This one I posted a video not too long ago repotting this guy, and it's doing okay. You can see some new growth up there, but I did catch it kind of late, and some of these vines are kind of struggling a bit. So hopefully within the next couple of months this one perks up for me. Okay, if we move down here, this one is my Solanacereus chrysocardium, and this one is my fernleaf cactus. This one I purchased over the summer last year, and it's been putting on some new growth. So happy about that. And here's some new growth as well. Love that one, very pretty. Over here is my Rhaphidophora tetrasperma, getting big. Mini Monstera, Ginny Monstera. This one is an easy grower as well. No issues, no problems. We come up here, I have my Hoya DS70 Bilibata Bertonier. Not really quite sure, but this one is getting quite long. Does it need water? Nope. Love that guy. Up here is my strawberry begonia. This one I recently had to clean up a little bit. It had lots of crispy leaves. It's doing all right though. Down here I have another Aglanima, and this one is the Aglanima Maria. Very pretty. Over here is one of my Cebu blues. I have two of these guys. Love the color of those leaves. Back here I have another Monstera adansonii. This one is a wide form as well. The leaves don't seem to get as large as my Monstera adansonii that I have in my living room. Still very pretty though. I love the adansonii. One of my favorites. Here is my Begonia Lucerna. This one last summer I thought I was going to lose it. It started getting yellowing leaves and crisping, and I cut a lot of the stems back, propagated them, and she's come back for me. Look at that, so gorgeous. Here is a Calathea Thai Giant. This one, since I've had it, it just really hasn't done a whole lot for us. This is actually my husband's plant. The stem on this guy has always remained small for whatever reason, this particular variety. But I mean, as you can see, my other Calathea, it's huge. This one I've had for much longer, for about 2 or 3 years, and it really just doesn't do too much. And the leaves on this guy are much more delicate as well. Not my favorite, not quite sure what I'm gonna do with this one. Back there is my peace lily. It's got some browning tips. I just watered this one. Kind of went a little too long without giving it water, so it's kind of angry looking. This one here is another Aglanima. I think this one is called the Spring Snow. Not doing the greatest for me, you guys. I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do with this one, whether I'll take it out of this pot and put it into a nursery pot, or I don't know. But it has lots of browning areas. Just not looking the greatest. Come down to the next shelf. Here is another Hoya Carnosa Crimson Princess. Doing its thing, looking cute. Look at these leaves. So, so pretty. Back here I have my Rabbit's Foot Fern. You can see the little feet on this guy. No issues with this one. Super easy to grow. my only fern. Here is another Syngonium, and I'm not quite sure of the name of this one, but this one is the one that has the more coppery, brownish looking leaves. I had a couple of my Syngoniums potted together, and I decided to separate them and place them into their own individual pots. This one, hopefully it does better for me this spring. I really like this one, but it's not the best grower. It's really stayed quite small for me, actually. I had this one for a while, about 2 years. If we move over here, this one is my green Peperomia Optusofolia. Just your standard green. And right here is my Calathea Freddie. And this one also just is not looking the greatest. Okay, if we move down to this shelf here, I have a true Christmas cactus. This is another Schlumbergera bucklei. These are cuttings that my husband received while he was on one of his service calls, and I potted them up. And I've had this one, I think, for about 2 years, and now it's a full plant of its own. Over here to the right is my Easter cactus. I'm not sure of the color of the blooms on this guy. I've had it for about 3 years, and it hasn't bloomed for me yet. I need to probably put it down in my basement to reduce the light, maybe some cooler temperatures, and we'll see what this spring has to bring for this one. Up here is my other Cebu Blue. So pretty. So if you recall, guys, I used to have a Philodendron Congo Rojo sitting here in this space. I have since rehomed that one only because it outgrew my space. And I didn't want to have to cut any leaves back. So I wanted it to go to a home where I knew it could grow as large as it was intended to. And I know the home that it went to is a good home, a fellow plant lover, so I'm happy with my decision there. And if we move over to the right, this one is my Hoya Carnosa. This one is a splash, Hoya Carnosa Splash. Typical green, but more splashing on it. Over here is my other last Hoya Carnosa Compacta. I have 3 of these guys. Love them. And last but not least, guys, this is my Dracaena. This is just the typical corn plant. If you want an easy growing plant that doesn't give you any issues, no problems, easy to grow, this is that plant. All of these Dracaenas, the corn plants, I think the Song of Indias are part of that as well. The Warnickiis, all super easy to grow. And I've had this one for about, 4 or 5 years now. So that is the end of my winter 2021 houseplant tour. We managed to get all the way through it. Whew. Okay guys, so I hope you enjoyed this tour, and like always, if you did, please give it a thumbs up, and if you are enjoying the content of my videos, please consider subscribing to my channel. I'd love to have you here along with us in my little planty YouTube corner. Take care guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.